a beginner in sewing, I would like to show you some steps that you have to take to be a good seamstress, dressmaker, tailor, custom clothier. You need to know about the sewing machine. And there are different types of sewing machine. We have the domesticated type, that is the domestic sewing machine. And there are several brands made by Singer, Butterfly, Benina, Brother. There are so many, and Pixel, so many in the market out there. And I won't say this is better than this, because from my years of experience, I've discovered that when you understand the way a sewing machine operates, it won't be difficult for you to operate a domestic sewing machine or even the industrial. So it's understanding how it operates that will help you, and you can enjoy any sewing machine that is being sold out there. So for beginners, I want to tell you that sewing machine can be operated by electricity, can be operated by treadle, that is treadle type where you use your leg, which you will see later in demonstration, or the electric motor type. Here we call it electric motor, but that is foot control operated, but operated with electricity. They will also have the industrial range. Sewing machines can just sew plain or zigzag or make embroideries. So join me as I show you how to use the sewing machine and how to sew with it properly. Furthermore, I want to give credit to my boss, Mrs. Wanda Golden Bruno. I worked with her in New York for a period of time, and I would say she really encouraged my interest, or should I say encouraged me in having more interest in sewing and teaching other people to sew. While I was back home in Nigeria, I was not as passionate about sewing as I am now. And most of the techniques are going to be applied are actually techniques she taught us, our instructors in New York. Our school is a Said Design Couture School, New York. Thank you, Ms. Wanda. Now I want to show you how to use the sewing machine. But before you start using it, I want to show you the different parts. Here in my hand is the spool. The spool actually is where you insert your sewing thread, as you can see. So you insert your sewing thread here and you thread it and pass it through the eyelet of your needle, which I will demonstrate later. And here you can also use this part of the machine as to insert your spool. Also, in using your machine, what I always tell my students is you don't have to fight with your machine. The machine is what does the work, not you. So in using your machine, for instance, this butterfly machine is a domestic machine operated by electricity. What you need is the hand wheel. This is the hand wheel on my right here. And you should always turn it towards you. As you can see my hand going, the motion of my hand. The hand wheel. And you notice the needle is going up and down. That is one way to sew. Notice as I'm stepping on the foot control, it's moving it. So stepping on this foot control is as if you are driving. You know, the more you step, faster it goes. And if it's too fast, there's no way you can control your fabric. So go gently. You hear a nice sound. Then you can control your sewing. Another thing you should know in this our first lesson is the presser foot. So the presser foot, don't go like this, go like this. But what I'm teaching you is good habit in sewing, good sewing habits. So you go through here and take down your presser foot gently. So for starters, we are going to we demonstrate on how to prepare your paper for the first training, most especially for beginners. So using your ruler, you make vertical lines, equal vertical lines. You can see these lines are well made, and this is what we are going to use. Another line you can make, or another shape you can make to practice before you start sewing on fabric, is by making a maze of squares. So you can start by, first of all, drafting a box. You continue the box until it becomes like a maze with corners. Another shape that can help you is the triangle maze. So you draw a shape like an A first. Then you angle it in. And you continue until you arrive at a shape like this. So it's a maze going this way and it gets to the middle. Another shape that can help you in your practice is you can get a A4 paper to create a crescent, because most necklines are U-cut, the armhole is curved, so you need to know how to maneuver the curve. For practice, most especially beginners, I will advise you take an A4 paper, fold into two, and you can freestyle. Draw like letter U, half letter U. And cut. After cutting, you get a shape like this. This you are going to use as a template to place on your A4 paper and trace it out. So it's like a template. Trace out. After tracing out, you now have a crescent. You can see freestyle, and you can now practice. The demonstration I'm going to show you now is sewing on those paper we drew without threading the machine. Because we are sewing on paper, I don't want you to be, you may be a beginner. I don't want you to be challenged, and this is how I actually do it in school with my students. Now we want to start to sew. We want to learn how to sew. We've known where we put our thread, we've known the foot control, the hand wheel, and we've also known how to use a presser foot. Those are the first things you need to know as a beginner. Now you want to start sewing. You take the first paper you drew, the vertical line. This vertical line actually is how you sew and put seams together. You can use it to finish the hem of your garment. You can use it to finish the edge of your tablecloth, your bed sheet, sew a pillowcase. That's why in my school, after day one, every student can sew. It's possible, as you will see later. It's the machine that does the sewing, not you, as you will see. So I'm going to insert the paper. You can see the paper. I drop my presser foot. I'm not going to touch the mesh, so I put my hands up and I will be sewing. I'll step on my presser foot gently. I'm not going to touch the machine, but I will sew, and you see what will happen to the paper. You notice what is happening? It is moving on its own. So it's the machine that does the sewing, not you. So most times you see people pressing on the paper, pulling the fabric, and in the process they can tear their fabric. In the process it can mess up their job. So know this from today, that you don't have to battle with your fabric. It's the machine that does the sewing. The minute you have that in your mindset, sewing will not be a challenge anymore. So now we are going to continue. So using my hand wheel, I turn my hand wheel and I'll position it on the line drawn. Make sure you go in at least ½ inch in. drop your presser foot gently and start. Remember, the sewing machine is the one sewing. So all I need is the tip of my finger, just the tip of my finger. I don't need my palm, I need just my tip. For safety reason, make sure your finger is far off from the needle point because you don't want to hurt yourself. So at all time, take back your hands when you are sewing. Remember, the machine is always shooting the fabric forward. So we start. So I start now. So what I'm doing actually is to control it so that it will stay on the right path. And see how easy that is. And we lift up your presser foot and look at what we just did. You can see those perforated holes. That is what you just made. So try another one. Continue like that. Like I said before, this vertical line is what you can use in joining two pieces of your garment together to create a better design. So let's have a better and closer look. And so we are done. Next, we are going to look at working on pivoting the corner. The technique you will learn from this, what I'm going to show you, will help you when you are sewing zipper or zip on your garment, when you are making collars, pockets, and so on. If you follow what I'm showing you, sewing will no longer be a difficult process. So let's continue. In sewing this pivoting the corner, and I'm going to show you with the square as well as the triangle shape. So I start now. I'm starting the square from the middle. So I start. I put down my needle using my hand wheel. I turn it down and I start. So you start. So in sewing the square maze, you continue till you get to that point, the corner, the bent corner. You use your hand wheel alone. Don't use your foot control. And begin to turn the wheel towards you till you get to that point where you have a corner. Lift off your presser foot. Make sure your needle is inside, not suspended upward. It's inserted into your paper, and swing the paper. Drop your presser foot and continue to a corner, swing again, for beginners, I advise always stop at least 1/4 inch or half before the corner, before you use your hand, or else you will shoot the point where you're supposed to turn. So you continue, you turn your hand wheel till you get to the point, you pivot, continue. Mind you, my hand is always far away from the needle to the end. Lift up my presser foot and let's see the result of our sewing. You can see the prints of the sewing. Make your sewing experience more interesting. Next, I want to show you how to sew a pivoting technique, but this time triangle. So if you are into quilting, making embroidery designs, it's good for you to have an idea on how to do and maneuver this shape. In sewing, you need to lock it, what we call locking. That is, you don't want it to fall apart when you start washing or during the laundry process. So there's what we call backstitching. I want to show you that in this demonstration. So I'm starting from this end So I will turn my hand wheel again, position at the corner where I decide to start, and I start. In sewing, you need to reinforce the beginning and the start of your project, so that when you will under it, watch, it can stand wear and tear, and it will not fall apart. So the machine is designed with a part that when you use it when necessary, it will help to make your job to be stronger as well as longer. So I want to show you how to use it. So it's the reverse button, and they come in different places, but all machines have it. So I will sew halfway, then I press the reverse button. What it does is sews backward. You leave it and you sew forward. I continue sewing. As I'm approaching the pivot corner, I stop and I turn my hand wheel. I don't want to miss that corner again. And I pivot. Remember, your needle is down. Pivot. You drop your presser foot gently and continue. As I'm approaching the corner, I stop. I use my hand wheel alone. Pivot again. I continue. I use my hand wheel. I've pivoted, I continue. Pivot, I continue. Pivot. Now we are approaching the end of the lace. So at the end of it, like I told you, for any job you start with a reverse stitch and you end with a reverse stitch. So I'm pressing the reverse button again to sew backward. I'll leave it to sew forward, and my stitch is well sewn and is intact. And that is the job. Now I want to show you how to sew curve. So in most cases, this curve is like, it could be like the letter C or any of your the curve. I remember I should be able to draw it. Now I'm going to show you how to sew it. But you can see, for you to perfect knowing how to sew, maybe U neckline, round neckline, the armhole that is curvy, you need to master this technique. So I do the same thing, but this time I'm going to start with a double stitch. So I'll sew like half an inch. I press my reverse button, go backward, and I continue. But notice I'm using just one hand, to control it. I don't have to, because I want to maintain that curve. It can be very difficult for you as a beginner, but don't worry, with practice you'll be able to perfect your skill. And what I advise is that after drawing, you can make photocopies of your drawing, and for you to practice and practice till you master the art. Look, you can see curve made.
The first one I want to show you how to use this machine. The first one we'll learn about this machine, how to do pendant. Forward, backward. And if you do forward, backward, you will do a small because you never sabi well. If you don't sabi well, you feel fast. You see they do until your leg master the machine. You see they do forward, backward. We learn how to do the thread for the finger. So they do a small because you never sabi well. Not fast too much, so they do a small until the shot is full. Then you can't stop them. Come put them for the reeler. Carry and pass the small hole. Then come put am under the machine. You can use this. If you put it under the machine, you can thread the up machine. You go to follow the hole stage by stage until you get to the last place where the needle dey. Then you can use this up one, draw one when dey for down, come outside. Now we are ready to sew. If you want sew, make sure say you pin am so that the cloth when you want sew no go shift. Then you go start to dey sew. You go dey sew am small small because you never sabi well. You go dey sew am small small. Follow the line so that you no go make mistake. And if you dey sew, you no go draw the cloth so that one no go long pass one after you don finish the cloth. You go dey sew am small.
So now I'm going to show you how to thread the sewing machine. I want you to look at what I'm doing attentively. So in threading the sewing machine, you first take your thread and put your thread over the thread spool. For this machine, the way you pass the thread to access the bobbin spool, you have to pass the thread diagonally. Use your other hand and push in the thread. Twist the thread around it and take it towards the spool for the bobbin. What you do next, you pass the thread. Most people in where I come from, they just twist it around the bobbin itself, around like that. So I will advise you, there are two holes inside this bobbin. If you notice these two holes, so what you do from the side, not from the bottom, because if you do it from the bottom, it will roll around the spool, the bobbin spool, instead of into the bobbin itself. I don't want that. So it may roll around the spool instead of into the bobbin. So you pass it through the side, through it, and here you have the thread. So comes out and put it onto the bobbin spool. For this machine, the minute you push the bobbin, you hear that click, automatically this needle will not move again. You see, it will not move again. But in some machine, you may need to pull out this hand wheel. You may need to pull out the hand wheel. So I will start reeling now. I'll reel that to a point and cut off this excess thread and continue to reel till it's full. Here we have the finished reeled bobbin. Like I told you initially, for you to be able to sew properly, you need a thread at the top and a thread at the bottom. So this one now that we finish reeling, we are going to fit it into the bobbin space here. So I want to show you how to insert your bobbin into the bobbin case and into your bobbin space here in the machine. So what you do when you are inserting, first of all, first rule, the thread I've reeled just now, the thread should face you from the bobbin, and the bobbin case, this sharp end of the bobbin case should also face you. And you insert your bobbin thread, and if you notice in the bobbin case itself, there's a little slit at the side here. So slide your thread through. And pull it till it pulls quickly. I want to show you now how to fix in your bobbin into the bobbin space in the machine. So tilting your machine backward, you notice that the bobbin area where you put in the bobbin case, there is a little space here that is meant for this pointed end. So what you do, use your right hand and turn your machine till you have an alignment here. You insert in the bobbin case containing the bobbin, push it in till you hear that click. It's done. We will now continue by threading the upper thread. When you are threading this part of the machine, you finish with the bobbin, you go make the thread go straight. You take it towards you like that, under and through this cut again, down this trail. You can see my finger, follow the finger trail like that and go up again. But let it be by the side of this. But in most cases, this may be hidden, so you have to bring it out to come out, and you see a little cut there. You take it around it and downward, you pass it through, and you are ready to thread. So when you are threading, this is the eyelet, but there's a trick somebody taught me while in New York. You can't see the eyelet properly. You can take a piece of white paper, put the paper behind the needle, and it will make the hole to be more visible to your sides, and you pass in the thread. So you can see I've passed it through. I will now pull it through, and the upper part is ready. But I'm not done yet. Still hold on. Hold the upper thread alone. Don't hold the bottom thread, that is the one from the bobbin case. Lift up your presser foot. Underneath the presser foot there is a hole, and we want this thread from the bottom to come out through that hole. So hold it, and with your right hand start to turn your hand wheel. Turn it quickly towards you, but not too much. And as you are turning, watch the bottom thread. The minute it shakes and moves, it has picked it. So I'll start now, not using my leg, just hand alone. It has picked it. So I'll now use one of my scissors, closed scissors, not open scissors, so that you won't cut your thread, and bring it out. So we are ready to sew. So for you to start sewing, but always make sure your thread comes in between the presser foot. This, there's a little space in between this presser foot. Take it in between and make sure it goes behind, and slide in this, and you are ready to sew. What we are going to do now is to practice what we just did, threading the machine, on sewing on the paper, the drawn paper. So I put down my thread, but because you are sewing on paper, I don't advise you to do reverse stitching because it will tear the paper. So but remember, it is not you moving the machine or moving the paper, it is the machine that is shooting it forward. Always remember that. So if you notice, it's just my fingers I'm using. So I want to remove the paper. Because it's paper, I can't pull it with force. I have to remove it gently. So what you do to aid that, with your right hand, start shaking the hand wheel. As you do that, gently remove it so that your paper won't be torn and you cut. And you see we did a nice one there. So I will repeat one more time, because it's good you practice on the paperwork again to really perfect your sewing skill. See how easy it is to sew? Sewing is fun. So let no one scare you from sewing. It's a fun thing. It keeps your mind busy. And you don't have to think much. It's a good antidote against things that keeps you worried. You don't have to worry, be joyful. So I'll make another line of it. It's getting more interesting and more fun. So you continue. See how easy it is to sew? So easy.